Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a story that really blurs the lines between ancient myth, modern science, and an enduring mystery. It's a legend that leaves us with a pretty wild question. I mean, really think about that. Could a warrior from an ancient epic still be walking the earth right now? It sounds impossible, but this is the core question from an incredible legend in the Hindu epic, the Mahabharata. We're talking about a man cursed to live for thousands of years, and some people believe he's still out there. All right, so to really get into this, you gotta meet the man at the heart of it all, Ashwatthama. Now, he was a formidable warrior, no doubt about it, but he was born with something that made him different, something that set him apart from, well, everyone. See, he had this incredible advantage. A divine gem, called the Mani, was literally embedded in his forehead from the moment he was born. And this thing wasn't just for show, okay? It was a source of immense power. It made him nearly invincible, protecting him from things like hunger, thirst, and fatigue. For all intents and purposes, he was a superhuman. But like in any great epic, his story takes a really dark turn. At the very end of this absolutely devastating war, the Kurukshetra War, Ashwatthama does something in a moment of pure rage and despair, something that would seal his fate for millennia to come. He unleashes a weapon called the Brahmastra Astra. You have to understand, this was like a celestial super weapon, so powerful it was forbidden to ever be used on people. And for doing this, Lord Krishna's punishment wasn't death. No, that would have been too easy. What he got was so much worse. And what's so wild is just how specific this curse was. It was just brutal. First, that powerful gem, it was forcibly ripped right out of his forehead, leaving this wound that would just never ever heal. Then he was cursed to wander the earth for 3,000 years, his body literally rotting but never dying. And on top of all that physical agony, the psychological torture, complete and utter isolation, a forgotten man, walking among us but never truly with us. Okay, so here's where things get really interesting. Let's just pause for a second. What if we stop looking at this as just a myth? What if we try to analyze this ancient story through a modern lens, with science and technology? Let's start with that gem, the Mani. The myth says it's magical, right? But what if it wasn't magic at all? What if it was some kind of highly advanced bioenhancement device? Think about it, an external power source regulating his metabolism, his cellular regeneration. If you think about it like that, then tearing it out would cause a catastrophic system failure, leaving a body that physically can't heal itself. You'd get, well, an eternal open wound. And the parallels don't stop there. Take a look at the weapon he used. The ancient texts describe what happened after it was unleashed. They talk about this terrible heat and how the survivor's hair and nails started falling out. I mean, come on. Doesn't that sound exactly like the description of acute radiation syndrome from a nuclear blast? So this idea right here completely flips the script on the curse. Maybe his rotting body isn't the result of some supernatural spell. It could just be eternal radiation sickness. His body is immortal, so it can't die from the poisoning, but it's forever suffering the horrifying effects. He's literally trapped in a state of never-ending sickness. But look, this isn't just about reinterpreting some old book. The reason this story is so compelling, why it sticks around, is because for some people, it's not over. The story continues today, in whispers and some really strange alleged sightings. So get this. In Madhya Pradesh, there's this place called Asirgarh Fort, and the locals there have this incredible legend. They believe Ashwatthama is still carrying out his penance, and that he visits a Shiva Temple there every single morning to offer a fresh flower. The weird part? They say the temple is locked up tight all night, yet when they open it in the morning, there's the flower. And then you have stories like this one. A pretty famous urban legend. A doctor back in the early 20th century reported treating a patient, a very tall man with a strange hole in his forehead that just wouldn't heal. Sounds familiar, right? Right where the Mani would have been. And just as the doctor was trying to figure it out, the mystery man vanished without a trace. So it begs the question, if he really is still wandering around, what's he doing? Why is he still here? Is he just, serving his time? Or is there a bigger purpose? Some people think he's waiting for Kalki, the final avatar of Vishnu, to pass on the ancient knowledge of these powerful divine weapons, a kind of guardian in a way. And that brings us full circle, doesn't it? We're left with this story that's just a tangle of myth, history, and maybe, just maybe, some continuing reality. It's a legend that simply refuses to stay in the past.
So, the big takeaway here is that the story of Ashwatthama isn't simple. It's not just one thing. It operates in three different realms all at once. It's a sacred religious myth, it's a fascinating thought experiment for scientific theory, and it's a living, breathing piece of modern folklore.
Which leaves us with that one last haunting question. Who or what is Ashwatthama? A character in a cautionary tale about arrogance? A hint of some forgotten ancient technology? Or is he actually out there somewhere? A solitary figure walking through the centuries, still paying for his crime. Maybe the real immortality of his story is that we're still asking.